I have been given the credit for throwing the first Molotov cocktail by many historians, but I always like to correct it. I threw the second cocktail. I did not throw the first. This was Sylvia-Rivera referring to the Stonewall riots of 1969, a year before her death in 2002. Through her life of advocacy for the trans, diverse, and working class communities, Sylvia-Rivera left a legacy for the LGBTQIA two-spirit community. As part of this community, I like to learn about our history. I have read articles, watched documentaries, read books, and learned all I could about Marsha P. Johnson and James Baldwin and many of our forefathers. In my speech today, I'm going to discuss the early life of Sylvia-Rivera, her activism, her organizations, and her lasting legacy to this day. Sylvia was born July 2nd, 1951 in New York. She had a father who abandoned her at an early age. She had a mother who committed suicide when she was just a toddler. She went to go live with her grandmother, who, due to Sylvia's effeminate behavior, was beaten and rejected by her grandmother. At age 11, Sylvia ran away to Times Square in the heart of New York City and became a child sex worker. She met with the drag community, including Marsha P. Johnson, and they finally gave her the family she always craved. She was highly influenced by the civil rights movements and the women's rights movements and the Vietnam War protests that were going on during that time. She participated in the Stonewall riots of 1969 alongside Marsha P. Johnson and many other LGBTQ family members. Sylvia and Marsha co-founded STAR. It's Streets, Transvestites, Actions, Revolutionaries. It helped house and support LGBT homeless youth and was also a political organization. This was funded mainly by Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia-Rivera's sex work. Sylvia was also a member of the gay liberation movement, but felt very left behind when in some backdoor deals, the trans community was left out in some legislation. So in 1973, at the Christopher Street Liberation Day rally, she gave the infamous "Y'all better quiet down" speech. There's a link to this speech in the description of my video below. After the Christopher Street fallout from that day, she moved to Tarrytown, New York, and activism took a backseat for about 20 years, until 1992 when Marsha P. Johnson's body was discovered. Sylvia moved back to New York City to the Christopher Street area at the gay piers down at the harbor. She took up the gay rights movement again. The Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy was very popular at this time with the Clinton administration. And again, she felt the working class queer and trans community was left out of this movement. She reformed STAR, changing the T from transvestite to transgender, and made a political organization. STAR fought hard for the Transgender Rights Bill and the New York State Sexual Orientation Non-Discrimination Act. Sylvia Johnson also during this time participated in many pride parades, and in 2000 was in Milan, Italy at the Millennium March, where she was named Mother of All Gay People. Following her death in 2002 from liver cancer, the Sylvia-Rivera Law Project was started. This project continues her legacy in the fight for fighting against systemic poverty and racism for trans and queer people of color. In 2005, the corner of Hudson Street and Christopher Street in New York City was named Sylvia-Rivera Way. And the Stonewall National Monument listed Sylvia in their first 50 American pioneers, trailblazers, and heroes in 2019. Today, I've discussed her early life, her activisms and organizations, and the legacy that she left behind us. Through her life of advocacy for trans, diverse, and working class communities, Sylvia-Rivera left a lasting legacy for LGBTQIA two-spirit community. Sylvia's fight, this community's fight, my fight, give me the strength, the drive, and the desire to work in the field that I do. I work down at the LGBT Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I believe in creating an inclusive, culturally diverse, and thriving community wherever I live.